So, in today's rough cut video, we're going to be talking really quick about essentially the 4 elements of defense when using the sword and shield. Now, rough cut videos, for those of you who don't know, go back and watch the other ones. But basically they are just quick, fast videos where I can share information as much as possible and as efficiently as possible with you in regards to various ideas, concepts, techniques, and other things that I've learned after 30 years of sword fighting in various forms. So if you haven't already, go ahead and click the subscribe button down below and click notifications. That's if you want to continue to get notified whenever I post a new video. I'm going to try to start knocking them out here pretty quick. And so let's just roll straight into this one. So when it comes to your defense with sword and shield, I identify 4 elements that are critical and absolutely important to keep in mind whenever you're training, whenever you're fighting sword and shield. I'm going to grab my gear here real quick here. I'm inside my apartment, as you can see, so it's pretty tight, so I'm not going to do anything crazy. I'm not going to destroy my TV or anything else for you. So give me a second. Okay, so when we got sword and shield going on, the very first element that comes to mind, obviously sword and shield, is the shield. This is the shielding device I have today. Some of you already know it. This is Goliath, my giant shield, which is, of course, is a bit sarcasm. But in any case, your shielding device is the first element of defense that most people think of, right? So you have your shield, and it's important that with all of these elements to practice them individually, then practice them together. So we start off with the shield. The shield is obviously the instrument that you use to block yourself, right? That is the first layer of defense in sword and shield. So you have your shield, you use it to pick up all of the different blocking areas there. And it's super important to train the shield defense alone. I know we'll get into it. We'll get into how to use these things appropriately all together, but it's super important that you develop the skills with your shield to where you can block any part of your body if needed with the shield. More will come into this later, but the shield, first element of defense, use this to pick up and block things and obscure your opponent's view, obviously. Second element, and you can tell already, it's going to be the sword. So this is a beater I have that, I break everything, so. But this is the second element with the sword. This, again, is an element used to block and pick up all the various strikes that can come at you. You want to train this as well. So with the sword and the shield, you want to spend some time in gear or out of gear with padded weapons or whatever, and actually get really good at blocking every part of your body with that, and then with the sword as well. So element 1, shield. Element 2, sword. Element 3 is dodging. So if you don't train to dodge, you're going to miss out completely on that element. So what you want to do is learn how to be able to dodge shots. So somebody takes a shot at your head, you look at it, you baiting them, and then you just they throw that, snap your head, you dodge it back really fast. So from about right here, you can move your head back a good foot or more out of their range. Someone toss that shot, boom, you can toss it back there. Same thing with the leg. The leg you can see right there, there it is. Often I'll have my shield out here, and then somebody will take a shot at the leg, and all I have to do is take it and roll it back a little, boom, like that, boom. Or you can do a big swipe back, dodge. You can also do it to the side as well. So you see this here? The line of the sword there marks the outside of the leg. A lot of times it's enough for me to just fold my leg that way to actually have blows skip away. It's not just the head, not just the legs. You've got to be able to dodge back with your body move out of the way of incoming shots. You gotta be able to get your arm and even your hand out of the way, either into behind your shield or back out of the way of incoming shots. You do, and it can be kind of painful, you do want to set aside some time to go out to train the shield alone to block everything, train the sword alone to block everything, and stand there and have somebody throw shots at you and try to do your best to dodge it and get out of the way. And it can be subtle moves. Somebody can throw an offside at the shoulder and you just like learn to kick it in. This one back here, you just learn to rotate out. The dodge element is the third. Now, the fourth element, and it's so many people don't think about it, but it is the natural defense element. It is, in my opinion, really the primary element that you essentially you're born with. When we're here fighting, you got your shield, got your sword, got your ability to dodge. But when I'm way back here or further, I'm no threat for the most part, and neither are you. Range. Range is the fourth element of defense. I would have placed it as number one, but not many people want to, think about that at first. But range is it's your default defense. It's your default defense element. When in doubt, get out. You're in there, you're fighting somebody, you get a little frustrated or flustered, you can't quite land that shot on them. You should be getting out. You shouldn't just stand there toe to toe and slug it out. If you want to be a strategic fighter, if you want to try to guarantee a win and not gamble, you should always be at range. You never stop here and start, oh man, how am I going to get that guy? I got to start thinking what I'm going to do. You don't stop and think in range. If you meet any hiccups, you have any issues, or you just kind of need to reset, get back out to range. Come in there, throw the particular set of shots you do or whatever, then return to range. This should be, your home should be at range. That's where you start off. Before you even enter the field, you're out of range of your opponent. When you get on the field, you're out of range of the opponent. When you salute, then you choose when you want to dabble into that range pool. But otherwise, you should be out. When in doubt, get out. So those are the four elements of defense. It's super important to train them individually. Now, as I said, with the shield, you can stand there in your armor or whatever, and you can practice moving it around. And then with the sword, you can practice moving it around and picking up and figuring out exactly how you need to move in order to pick up all the blocks. Then dodging, you want to work that. I know a lot of people don't even bother, but you'll be surprised how many times that will save your ass if you practice leaning your head out. That little lean back, getting your helmet just out of the way so it just barely slides past you is huge. And then you have to practice, boom, after an engagement, moving out and away from opponents. Don't sit there. In group fights, you'll get plowed from the side. In single fights, you want to remove yourself from any type of threat level as a default. Now, there's times to stay in the pocket. There's times to oppress your opponent with your presence. But really, your default idea should be to be out at range. So I'll go ahead and wrap this up right now. 4 elements of defense: shield, sword, dodging, and range. Remember that. Shield, sword, dodge, and range. And work those. Individually work them until you have it down to where you can block with a sword or shield or dodge pretty much any shot that's thrown at you if you're focusing on it. Now, of course, you're not going to dodge if you're like right up here in somebody's face. You're not going to be able to dodge them hitting you to the head. There's obviously certain times you won't be able to, but you get the gist. Work it, train those shots individually, and train as habit to remove yourself from range by default. Always by default. Whether or not it's in a tournament fight 1-on-1 or group melee fights, you want to remove yourself from zones of threat, zones of engagement as a default. Work those individually. I'll be back in a little bit. Like I said before, check out the other videos if you haven't. And, take what works for you, take what doesn't. This is just me attempting to share as much as I can with everybody and try to make it as easy to find as possible. 4 elements of defense, train them, work them. I'll see you in the next video.